Hi, everyone, and welcome. Thank you so much for joining us and coming on to our Cornerstone Jamaica General Body Meeting. It's our last meeting. We have these every month, and it's our last meeting of the year. And man, we have so much to discuss. And tonight's meeting, we want to do a discussion style, just an open-ended discussion. We usually do a lot of program updates. We have 6 running programs right now, but tonight we just want to get to the heart of our guests. We'll be getting introductions to our fabulous guests, and then going into a bit of a brainstorming discussion session. So without further ado, I will turn things over to Gary Robinson, who is our founder of Cornerstone. Gary, I'll let you.
Thank you. Thank you. I would ask everybody to mute, please, so I can hear myself think. Thank you. Welcome, everybody. I don't know where the year went, but it certainly went by fast. I think it was by far the most productive year that we've had. There's been a few bumps in the road, but I just feel the best is yet to come. The way things are going to play out, I believe 2022, regardless of the environment we're in, we're going to shine. I do have one announcement to make. Speaking of bumps in the road, it's bittersweet for me. Our beautiful executive director is heading to the sidelines from that role at the end of the month. She's going on to other things. She'll always be a part of Cornerstone. Crystal, I don't know how I could have built this thing without you. Your imprint is all over the place, and thank God for that. All right, you've elevated us to such a high level and I'm not going to try to replace you. Okay, we're just going to coast for a while. And I just wish you the very, very best in all your endeavors. And I hope that everything you touch turns to gold, like the touch you put on Cornerstone. So I want to start with that. Okay. Okay.
Thank you, Gary. I just want to respond with gratitude for that. You're going to make me blush and cry. So I'm going to just say thank you. And I appreciate you.
Yeah, so she's ready for some new challenges, and we will keep pushing on without her. We'll push her up however we can. I just want to introduce all of our guests tonight. If anybody that I introduced wants to say hello, that's fine. I know I got regrets from Rebecca Tortello. She's the education chair of UNICEF, and she sends her regrets. It was touch and go making the meeting, but anyway, hopefully she'll be on in a future meeting. I want to start with Neil Shire, who's a Jamaica file. He's been coming in the grill for many, many years. He's on his way very soon. He's been a supporter of Cornerstone in the past, and I just thought he might like to see how we roll here. Mr. Mehmet Clinic is also on the call. He's a gentleman that has an IT company in Atlanta. He and I have been talking, and he's going to help us source much better modems than we currently have and help us source tablets and laptops. And he also has aspirations of teaching young Jamaicans the IT trade, which we are going to hopefully get behind next year and make something happen. His lovely cousin is also on the call, May Albergini. She is an American from DC area, living in Jamaica now. She's she's a social worker by profession, working in the Whitehall community of Westmoreland, which we're involved in as well. Welcome to you, May. I'm just going to go through all of you, and if you'd like to say something, that's fine. You're not under any obligation to. I want to also introduce that you already know David Sangster, the honorary consul of Northern California for Jamaica. I just have to throw out a shout out. He's one of our strategic advisors. The Container of Love project was a huge success in no small part. David helped raise about half the money. Without that, we would be suck and win, quite honestly. So David came through in a big, big way for us. I'll be eternally grateful for that. I won't embarrass you anymore. I just needed to give you that public shout out because you did a great job for us. And thank you very, very much. I also want to Aaron Wool, he's one of the optometrists in Kingston, Jamaica, who is he and his lovely girlfriend were here in the States last week. We got a chance to have dinner with them. I'm glad you could make it, Aaron. And I also want to introduce Morgan and Spencer, our latest two Cornerstone recruits. They just got married in Jamaica in November, wanted to give back. I saw a nice stray donation on PayPal and I didn't know whose it was. And I reached out to them and one thing led to another. And Brianna and I kind of did a tag team and here they are. And now, again, if you'd like to say hello yourself, that's fine. But I also want to introduce Andre Virtue. I was introduced to by Rebecca. Andre came back to Jamaica after being in the States, graduate of Howard, like Crystal. Andre wanted to help Jamaican youth, and now he's back in Jamaica doing just that. And we hope to also find some synergies in the future and work together. I think that leaves Mr. Richard Powell, the older, better-looking brother of our own Joseph Powell. I don't think he's here tonight to receive that insult. I'm sorry, but he'll see the recording, hopefully. But anyway, Richard, I'd just like to turn it over to you because you and I have been having some pretty substantive conversations. Maybe you could start the ball rolling and tell us a little bit about you and your work and how you see things. Richard, where are you? Are you there?
Sure.
Okay.
I'm here. I'm live
Okay.
in living color. Good afternoon, everyone. It's such a delight to be with all of you. I heard about a lot of you from Gary, but meeting you virtually here is a real treat. And Gary, please make sure that you edit that piece of the recording and send it to Joseph. Yeah, that Andre. No. So listen, this is a real treat and pleasure and honor for me. I go way back with Andre, Gary. No. I know this is the first time he's probably on this call as well. But been a big fan of his work and long overdue catching up with him to see how I can get more involved in what he's doing there. But Andre is like a big brother to me growing up in high school. So I've known him since I was maybe 10 years old, 30 plus years, right? I go back. You
share a distinction with him, do you not? When you want to share with us what that is?
Sure. You definitely have spoken to him a few times. Yes, Andre and I were the two first Jamaicans that got recruited to a professional soccer club in Holland. And this was back in the mid 90s, 93, 94 at PSV Eindhoven. And certainly for me, I think like for Andre as well, was very formative and shaped the trajectory of a lot of opportunities that came to me subsequently, not just to go to Phillips Academy Andover, but then also subsequently Harvard University and play football there as well. So yes, Andre and I have a lot of things in common, but that's a pretty unique one that we share, going back almost 30 years, 25 plus years now.
Yeah, so tell us about Nexus.
Yes. So again, Gary asked me to be extremely brief, so I'm going to keep my remarks here to 4 minutes flat. So I have 1 minute less than Gary allocated for me. But before I go into Nexus team, I just wanted to just give you a quick 1 minute overview of my background. Gary can send you the LinkedIn profile, but after leaving Jamaica and attending college in the States, I studied developmental economics at Harvard, right? I did my thesis research with Jeffrey Sachs, economics, and in particular, the economics of small developing countries in the emerging markets was always a passion of mine and a focus of mine, even from when I was, in college. And so I left Harvard after studying economics, worked in New York for a bit, focused on a group that looked after Latin America and Caribbean financings for governments and for corporates. So the government of Jamaica was a client of mine, at Bear Stearns, and that helped to reconnect me with a lot of the business leaders and business owners and government officials in Jamaica. And since then, I've started an investment firm. So think of Berkshire Hathaway, right? Warren Buffett's company. And we're a mini Berkshire Hathaway. We buy and invest in companies for the long term and create jobs. And we have a focus in doing that in an impactful way to create jobs for Black and brown people in the US. And we hope to eventually create a lot of jobs back in the Caribbean and Jamaica as well. In one of the companies that we invested in, we exited a business. We grew to 1 billion US in revenue. And we created 7,000 jobs in the US during a 5-year period of time. And this was a few years ago, but that model we're really trying to scale to be intentional about helping to create real jobs, thousands of jobs for the youth and others in Jamaica specifically, and across the Caribbean. So that will intersect with where I'm about to go now in Cornerstone. So I'm an investor by day, work in finance, and have developed a network of very, very wealthy investors here in the US and corporates that would be very, very interested in giving back and helping Jamaica in some way, shape, or form. Like Gary, just a lot of people that probably had no Jamaican connection, weren't from Jamaica, but love the island, fell in love with the people, and see a lot of opportunity there to do good. And I look forward to working with Cornerstone more to catalyze getting some of that capital, some of that intellectual capital and financial capital to assist Jamaica in a number of dimensions. Youth education being a big passion of mine. Sports and youth development is obviously something I'm very close to as well. And we can talk about the areas, right, in which we plan to give back in a big way. Nexus, just very briefly, in 1 minute. Nexus is an organization founded in the United States and in Washington, D.C. by 2 social entrepreneurs, but it's a global organization connecting the next generation of philanthropists with causes that they care about. So think about the families of billionaires in the US, Asia, Latin America, and Europe. Can we get this group of people, the 18 to 35-year-old generation of these very wealthy families, to really be directing some of their philanthropic and social impact dollars to causes in the Caribbean? And that's what Nexus is about. I'm the chair of Nexus Caribbean. We've done a couple events in Jamaica, and a lot of it in the past had been historically funded out of my pocket. And one of the things Gary knows that I'm passionate about is really working with a team in Jamaica to help really actualize ideas that we've had to create revenue streams for a nonprofit in Jamaica, but also do some very, very impactful work locally, right, with the kids, in particular with the youth in Jamaica. So lots of ideas around how I can take some of the ideas and the relationships and actionable projects, partner it with the team and the infrastructure that you guys have all built at Cornerstone, and have some real positive and big impact on the little island that we all love so much. So Gary, I think I kept that to exactly a little
Good
under
job.
5 minutes.
Nicely done. Thank you very much, Richard. Andre, I know he's a tough act to follow, but would you like to just briefly explain the work that you're doing? Because it's very important.
Hey, thank you, Gary, and good night. Good night, everyone. Hi, Emma, and hi, Richie. Those are the 2 that I know. Let me just first start off by thanking each and every one of you for loving Jamaica and for actually willing to serve in whichever way that you've been so far and are trying to. I mean, for you to choose Jamaica is, I mean, there's so many other places, and so for you to even choose Jamaica, I do want to extend a big thank you for whatever you do. I really appreciate that. For me, having moved back to Jamaica, I've had a passion to give back in a meaningful way. Football, soccer for some of you really was the opportunity that took me out of Jamaica and made me travel the world. And I built many friendships because of it. And I felt I could not live abroad and tell my children about Jamaica that I love, but they couldn't come back home. And I didn't want to be on the sidelines talking about somewhere that was beautiful and didn't do my part in helping to make a difference. So I came back home in 2002 with the intention to use the sport of football to help to change the lives. There are many things that Richie and I went through that could have been done differently if we were mentored or if there was somebody who knew the pathway to guide us on. And I committed to try and use the sport of football to help persons get an opportunity. I was the first in my family to get a college degree, and it's not where many of these youngsters come from. We want to give them an opportunity, and I know getting a scholarship to the US was one, and many people want to also play professional football. And there came a huge passion for me to realize my dream of playing professionally, but giving back in a meaningful way. I graduated in 4 years. I got a scholarship, and so I know it can be done. Sometimes we think it's either or, but we're living proof that we can focus on both the academics and the sports and still do it and do it well. One of the things that has really centered me here is recognizing the whole thing about mentorship and leadership development through sports, because talent alone will get some of these kids are open or are looking, but if the character is not molded and shaped, and if the leadership potential is not harnessed, you find that the potential is there and the promise is there, but they've never ever been able to realize it. So I've been doing an academy here in Jamaica for the last couple of years, and just using it to create opportunities and platforms for our kids here. I'm based in Kingston with the desire to expand outside of Kingston and do a lot more, and also in the region. My philosophy is that if we just coach the kids to be good footballers but not good people, good citizens, I would have failed them as a coach. And so I'm very committed and passionate about coach education, mentorship, and leadership development through sports. And the academy is poised. We have quite a number of players who have gotten scholarships to date, and a number of players who are playing for the national team and so on. And then just finally, I think it's really now that we have a structure, now that we have a program that people have been blessed and are benefiting from. The lessons that we learn in football is transferable to life, and so basketball, the other sports are all. It's easy to transition into that. So I am recently being a consultant with sports projects here on the island, and youth development. So a lot of my experience comes from what I've been able.
Andre, I believe we're coming in and out. Uh-oh.
Yeah, is it just me or did he freeze for a
No,
little
I think
bit?
we lost him.
Okay,
Yeah.
he froze. Yeah.
I think
Andre,
we
you
lost him.
froze up a little bit. Okay.
All
I
right.
think we got the gist anyway.
Well, yeah, well, hopefully if
Yeah.
he comes back, he
So
can
guys, I
finish.
know you have a.
Oh,
I know
there
you
we
have
go.
a full.
Yeah,
Yeah,
go
I know
ahead.
you guys
There
have
you
a full. I
You're
know you
back.
guys have a full agenda, so I'm here to serve, and in any way possible, just connecting with Gary and hearing the work that you guys are doing. I'm very positive and believe that some way or somehow we'll be able to collaborate and network for the purposes of helping our youngsters here on the island and hopefully creating winners on and off the field or the court in whichever way possible. Thanks for giving me a few minutes. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was beautiful. May, if you'd like to just tell us what you do, you don't have to. We can move on. We got a lot of business to do, but I would love for the group to understand the work that you're doing in Westmoreland.
Yes, hi, good evening, everyone. Thanks for having me, Gary. Well, I'm a social worker, grew up DC suburbs. I have a master's in social work. I moved to Jamaica a couple years ago at the very beginning of the pandemic, March 2020. And so when I moved here, of course, I wanted to continue to social work on the island. And so I engaged with the local Rotary Club, and the Mary Gate of Catholic Church, and I provided some tutoring and support service as much as I can. And then Joan and I, through the Rotary, we launched a competition this past summer, a social justice social media competition to engage the children in doing both merging technology, social issues, and creativity and outlet to give them. And so with the collaboration of NEAT, Whitehall Citizens Association, and like the programs that were already on the ground, we were able to pull it off, and it was a very big success. Also, Yolanda supported us from the US, a new kind of sponsor, a new friend who really saw the competition through. So it was a wonderful collaboration. And so on the island, I support Rotary, and pretty programs that are working with children, especially in Negril and the most vulnerable ones, which I mean, the very vulnerable children of Negril and Whitehall and the communities surrounding that area.
Thank you. Would any of our other guests like to say a few words? If not, we will move on. Okay, going once, going twice. Thank you very much. Back to you, Crystal.
Thank you so much, Gary. I just love how we're running the show like a real news program, as it were. I want to say thank you to our guests for coming on and joining us, seeing us do what we do and how we do it on our monthly calls. Thank you to Richard for sharing what you do, Andre and May, for all of the work that you're committed to doing and that you have done and you will do. And hopefully there's a lot of synergy there, and I am just really looking forward to the fruit that comes from our connection. So thank you for that. This is the time in our monthly meeting where we turn things over to two very important ladies. The first is Brianna McIntosh, who is our Chief Executive Officer, and then after that, we will have our president and CFO, Margie Sandlow, and you guys can just hand off to each other, and I'll just pick it up after you're done, Margie. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for coming on the call today. I'm going to take a few seconds to just talk about myself because there's a lot of new faces and I'm really excited for everybody to be here. So my name's Brianna McIntosh. I am in about, I think this is month 2 of being in the CEO role with Cornerstone Jamaica. However, I've been with the organization since January 2019. I am a public health professional by training. I specialize in community health and health equity, and I have research studies here in Cleveland, Ohio, and also in Kingston, focused on glaucoma. And so my love for Jamaica comes from basically my whole life of having Jamaican influences through my friends and family. And I first traveled there in 2013 and found myself at the Savannah Lamar Hospital, which is one of the last places that you want to be on vacation. And in that, I was fresh out of undergrad, and I was young and eager to learn and give back, and I found myself wanting to come back to Jamaica as much as possible and use my skills, passion, love, heart for this country that opened its arms wide open for me. And so since then, I've been here, and I'm so happy that Cornerstone is my family now, and I found the home, and I am now in the position to lead us into the next 5-10 years of our organization and beyond. And so we're going to talk a little bit about it later, but one of the things I just wanted to sort of recap is that while we had an exceptionally busy year of meeting the needs of our schools and partner communities, we also were going through a strategic planning process for our organization. And so I always say that before Zoom was cool, Cornerstone was using Zoom. So we've always operated in this virtual space and sort of never have had windows or doors in terms of people to come in and out. We just sort of have this cloud of collaboration. And so as we move forward, and sort of my charge for us over the next 5 years is to really build our organization so that we do have doors to walk through, and that our partners can walk through, and that we are able to really have the structure of an impactful nonprofit that we are. So I'm very excited for our updates on Saturday. I'm hosting a workshop on Saturday at 11 a.m. And this is sort of a recap, an overview of our strategic planning process with a hint of my passion and my love and my views and my things that I want to lead us into. And I'm so excited for Saturday. I hope that everybody can come onto the call. And then I'm going to hand it over to Margie, and we'll talk more in a little bit after we're done with updates. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Bree. I hope my voice holds out. I don't have that much to say, but I do have a cold and my voice has been giving out. I want to thank all the guests for joining us today, and Richard and Andre, thank you so much for sharing. And this is an amazing group that we have joining us today. So thank you so much. I also want to, I listened to what Gary had to say about Crystal, but he sort of said that Crystal's leaving, but she's not leaving Cornerstone, Jamaica. She's done such an amazing job as executive director for the past 4 or 5 years. I don't know exactly how many. And she's going to be pursuing really more of her life's dreams in terms of her career, but she's going to continue to be involved in Cornerstone. So we can still reach out to her. And I know, Crystal, you're going to continue to give us so much, just not on an everyday basis. And I also want to emphasize Saturday, because I hope that every single person will be there. We're looking to another pivot for Cornerstone. We took a pivot at the beginning of COVID, of the pandemic, and now we're ready for another one. We're not quite there in terms of starting our See Better, Learn Better clinics again. And actually it's giving us the opportunity to sit back and reflect a bit and do some reorganization or talk about it on Saturday, and then we'll move into it at a later time. That's going to be Crystal's area on Saturday. So we did this past year have our largest year financially ever by like twofold. So, and we did so much good for Jamaica, especially through the Container of Love. But we want to make this year and our future years even better and better. And so please, everyone join us on Saturday. There are 3 sessions. Hopefully you can come to all of them, but if not, pick which ones interest you the most. And it's going to be the start of our regrouping. And then in February, we're going to have, or January, February, we haven't selected the dates yet, some for sure regrouping. So back to you, Crystal.
Thank you, Margie, for your lovely words and thoughts regarding me. And no, I am still going to be around. I'll still be available. I'm just a phone call or WhatsApp away. And thank you, Bree, also for sharing. I think it's so important for us to kind of give a little edification around the leaders in our organization, a little bit of background, and giving thanks for all that we contribute. I actually am going to go into our next segment, but first I think I'm going to take a page out of Bree's book and give a little background about myself. So I'm Crystal Paige Hyman. I'm a Jamaican American, born in Miami, graduated from Howard University, HU. And I have a background in television production. I got my BFA in TV production, radio, TV, film production at Howard, and a master's degree in media management. But I've always been passionate about entrepreneurship and developing, like, what does it take to be successful in business? Not just how to build a business, but what is the mindset that it takes to build business and keep going and sustain a business? It comes from its people, right? So I actually parlayed my creativity from television production into what is called creative wellness, where I actually go into corporations now and I teach kind of linear thinking business professionals how to think more creatively, how to use their intuition, how to tap into their instincts and their intuition to produce innovative ideas that usually end up adding to their bottom lines in their organization. Creativity is like the wellspring to everything else follows out of your creativity, right? So what I wanted to talk about tonight was we have a corner every monthly meeting called our Jamaican Culture and History Corner. The lovely Jessica Davidson normally does it, but I've been doing it since last month and I'll do it again this month. And seeing as how it's my last meeting as executive director, I thought, you know, let me dig deep on this one. What are we going to talk about in this Jamaican culture and history corner? And I just wanted to take a few minutes to talk about a couple of things that I've learned while I lived in Jamaica. I lived in Jamaica for 4.5 years. I just moved back recently. And some big takeaways that I realized, I thought I knew Jamaica because I'm Jamaican, I'm a Jamaican, I live in South Florida. I said, there's more Jamaicans in South Florida than in Jamaica. Come on, I know Jamaica. And then I moved to Jamaica. And I realized, no, there's staunch differences. And of course, lots of realities that I got to learn. So there are 4 different lenses that I realize about Jamaican people. When you meet somebody from Jamaica, usually the experience that they have is dependent on whether they come from town or country, or whether they're, socioeconomically blessed and they're more uptown versus downtown. It's something that goes unsaid, but it's kind of a big part of the whole thing. Then we go into not only where are you from, but what high school did you go to? And your high school is everything. I mean, people are very almost clan-like about their high school. So it's a really big deal. And I learned about that sort of community building in Jamaica that goes on around those things. I also learned about economics. I learned that classism is very real in Jamaica. The cost of living seems low at first, but it's really inflated by the importation tax and fees that, you have to get goods into the country, right? And then that's exacerbated by the classism because there's not a lot of wages paid for the jobs being done. So that creates a really big economic struggle in Jamaica. The next thing that I learned was that social community is everything in Jamaica. Who you know, what family you're from, your last name. People will know your whole family by your last name. What high school you went to, again, parties, gathering, visits to the house. You'll meet someone and they're your friend and they drop by your house, like just drop by and deliver mangoes to you. Like just having those interactions, I realized that, okay, this is a big deal. The community building is a really important part, and not even networking, but actually building rapport and friendships. Another thing that I learned about Jamaica is that friendships run deep. Friends are family in Jamaica. We take it real serious. Like if someone is friend and you call them a friend, I mean, it's someone that you can depend on. There's just a different level of friendship in Jamaica. And I also was blessed enough to learn the definition of work-life balance. Jamaica is doing work-life balance so well. In Jamaica, you work from whatever your work start time is, 9 a.m. Monday morning, you finish work 5 p.m. Friday. No more talking about it. It just is what it is. The weekend is made for take care of your yard, that's your house, take care of your family, and do whatever you need to do to unwind and relax. A lot of people go to country on the weekend, and there's just kind of like a very serious respect for like the weekend and for family time and all of that. So people are the #1 and best part of Jamaica. Like that's the #1 human resource is what I learned. You don't just get on a business call and just say, hey, can you send that email? Or hey, can you do this? Or hey, can you do that? Or hey, I need this. That's the American way, right? In Jamaica, you gotta dial it back. How are your kids? How is mommy? How is daddy? You ask about parents, you ask about siblings, you think about the last thing you remember about the person, okay? And then you go into the conversation with that, see where they're at, and then you ask about whatever business you have to ask about. I also learned that religion and spirituality is a huge deal in Jamaica. Not only do we have more churches than anywhere in the world for such a small island, outside of that, prayer is ingrained in the culture and everything. It's in school, it's in the ministry meetings, like the prime minister is praying. Every corporate session you go to, they open with an invocation and prayer. God is kind of like a fact in Jamaica, and the prayer thing is real. So I know that we've even been on calls with the Ministry of Health and Education, and they're praying, and we're like, we're praying? So that was something that I learned while there for sure, and that the nuclear family is everything in Jamaica. People are close with their parents close with their siblings. Everything is built on family. Businesses are run by families. Everything is family. And then also the government is doing a strong push around the nuclear family. Domestic responsibilities are a big deal in Jamaica, and there's a lot of pride in your home. Everybody comes back to Jamaica for Christmas time. That's another big thing. And honestly, the biggest thing that I learned while I was in Jamaica was to trust your instincts, and in everything give thanks. We might see people that we help, our constituents and the people that are beneficiaries, the people that we serve, and we wonder why, if they're in such a humble circumstance, if they're in, maybe they're living below the poverty line or what have you, but they're happy, they're smiling, they have joy. Why is that? How are you so, grateful? It's because in Jamaica, gratitude is everything. Coffee have a song where she says, gratitude is a must. And that is really a fact in Jamaica. No matter what situation or circumstance you're in, you have to give thanks. So those are all the things that I learned while I was in Jamaica. Crystal is out. That was the culture corner, and you got enough culture in that session for the entire year's worth, I hope. So we've actually reached the point in our agenda where we are going to talk about our big end of year workshop. And I'm actually leading one of those workshops on organizational development, something I'm super passionate about, as far as just putting our organization together and figuring out what we need and our people, how we can best create the roles and functions that we need to operate at our best, because at our core, our people are everything. So that will be on Saturday at 1 p.m. And I'm looking forward to seeing everyone there. And the next update that we have is about our Cornerstone Jamaica newsletter. Do you guys want to take a look? Oh, thanks, Carrie. Do you guys want to take a look at the newsletter real quick? Gary, do I have time to do,
Yeah,
or should we hold it, or should we keep
screen?
it?
No, I haven't seen it yet. I haven't had a chance to look at it. You want to just pop it on the screen for a minute?
Okay, yeah, sure. Let me do that.
Here, yeah.
Open it up.
It's taking me a long time to make.
How do you like it?
I think it's great. I just feel like it's gonna get better when me and Bree get to work on it. And this next round of edits, Bree knows that we have some work to do on it, but it's a great start. We're off to a great start. So here we are. Can you guys see my screen now?
Yeah.
I got a few head nods. All right, we're good. So this is the Seasons of Change and Impact 2021 newsletter. We have just put together some of the pictures that were pretty telling of the year so far.
I love it already. It's great. So
Gary, you just love the colors and pictures for sure. And I try to keep it bright because I know that you love the bright colors. So this is a letter from me. We always start the newsletter off with a letter, and it kind of tells the story of what we went through this year. A little bit of our challenges, what we've overcome. Then we go into the winter here, and we started the year off. I can't believe this was January. Oh my God, it feels like 2 years ago now because we did so much work in between.
I see you opted to not include the picture of us laying in the tablet cases.
Yeah, I decided not
400 bags.
I decided not to go with that one because you guys were like in a puddle. So, but this one, I decided to use this one of Kate with the bags is the closest that you'll get to that, Bree. But wanted to do our tablet distribution day, that 350 tablets that we gave away, gave out to our students. And it was just a fantastic event put together almost seamlessly by Kate, who it was Kate and Bree. And it worked out so great. Father Jim brought the tent out. It just came together beautifully. And is this Morland Wilson? Who spoke? I mean, the whole thing just came together so lovely. Then we just give a few highlights and pictures of some of the work that we did this year. We started our chicken farm project, our sustainable chicken farm at Little Bay. We also did, shout out to Emma for Cyber Safe Yourself, the survey that we did that basically informed the training that Emma went on to do, and we've launched and gone live since then. Then we have Container of Love, which was our biggest effort this year. Man hours logged, so many man hours, guys, to bring that project to light. So there's quite a bit on. Oh, and we launched our blog. That was something that it was only in reviewing the year I realized that was a huge deal. Shout out again to Emma and to Rosalie who write for the blog. And these hyperlinks will be actually live in the real finished product. We also did meetings with NWA, which was about fiber optics. Here, me and Gary met with Michael Saunderson over at NWA. We met in South Florida, but so much work here was showcased. We have the Gupta Foundation that gave us $40,000 to specifically purchase 400 tablets for our Cornerstone Connects program. We have a grant that we won by Optometry Giving Sight. Shouts out to Bree and the whole entire See Better, Learn Better team for making that happen. It was fantastic. It was such a great year for us, despite, you know, so many nonprofits have to shrink economically, as Gary says, and we have just been growing and growing and exceeding our capacity. So Cyber Safe Yourself, Emma, we got that incredible that interview on Smile Jamaica. So many Jamaicans know about the Cyber Safe Yourself program now. We shipped the Container of Love. These pictures do not give the full detail. That's one thing. We had so much work, so many man hours logged, so much went into the Container of Love project, but here it is again. This is a mock-up of our container. Who knows which one of them it is. This is a stock photo, but we imagine that this is our container right here on this ship on its way to Jamaica. Then we have all the links that we want to be live on this, and we just wanted to feature all of the work that we've done this year. So this is a little bit, and then of course, we've got to have a call to action at the end with our giving and our email list and how to get involved with Cornerstone Jamaica and our Smile, our Amazon Smile account and well wishes and all of that. So that
Great.
is the newsletter.
Awesome.
So far. So
Beautiful.
I am so glad
I
you're
think it's
happy,
really
Gary.
going to capture people's attention, because with all the pictures, then it draws you into, you want to see all the pictures, it draws you into the writing, which isn't in depth. You can get through it quickly. I think people are going to really be engaged.
Yes, I'm so happy that you guys are pleased with it first lot. It's in your emails, so I'm looking forward to more
Yeah.
That
feedback.
looked like
Great
5
job.
years, that looked like 5 years of work.
Right? I think so too, Carrie. Absolutely can't believe how much we accomplished in 12 months. It's insane. I love it. So thank you guys so much. And yeah, I think that this brings us to Bree, our first discussion topic, if you're ready. A mini all about money talk with Brianna.
Annika, do you need to say something?
I'm here. Hold on. Let me unmute myself.
You're muted.
unmuted.
You're not yeah, what Gary said.
No, I'm muted. No, I muted myself. No, just commenting on the newsletter, and I love that it has many colors. It certainly grabbed the attention, and I think and I can come into that session too, Crystal, if you need any extra eyes to look on the newsletter to know that, you know, we probably get some things down, less words, or, you know, the organization of it. So I can come into that session, but so far I think job well done on that. And from looking at the pictures, I think I see everything that we've done. I don't remember seeing a picture of Ricardo on his backpack drive.
yeah.
That was it. That was one of the things.
But that's what I
honestly,
meant
Annika.
when I said, more eyes. once
Yes.
once we get more eyes on it, then we can, because there were so many things, the big projects and then the small, little one-off things that we've done, but certainly have big impact. But yeah, that's it. Hi everyone.
Hi, Annika, and thank you for that. I actually had it in the original draft, but it wasn't flowing. So I decided to take it out and then we'll, finesse it back in when we get the flow right. So great eye to our communications.
Yeah.
director. Hello, of course you caught that. Of course you did.
That's a big one, especially since that's one of the projects that we've done that really connected with like just being out there in Russia, the community. Like,
Community.
I know, like for the tablets, the kids came to us, and I know we visited the schools and we interacted with the principals, and for the container of love. But just for that specific project where we were in the communities, walking up and down with the children, going house by house by house, that's a big memory for me for the year. So yes, I'd this.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
I think our goal, right, is to get the newsletter ready to be sent out by next week.
Yeah.
And it's the push for end of year. But it's also, and I guess now I'll talk about money. I'll go into the money conversation, is that the newsletter is a way to really, can be the hub of our work. And then with the links to videos and our webpage and things, it really allows for the big scope of what we've accomplished and where we're heading. And so out of that, we know that in our strategic planning process, our consultant was like, you guys do a lot for a very little amount of money. And you have a lot of impact for very little, like you operate like you should have a $500,000 to $1 million budget. And really our operating budget is around $200,000. And that is insane because we have such a large impact and we have such a large team. And one of the ways that we're going to become more sustainable and more impactful and be able to, extend our reach and amplify our resources is through one, personal donations, but then also corporate donations. So Richard, I really appreciate your comments around corporate philanthropy. And I really think that that is a strategy that Cornerstone needs to go into, especially because there's a lot of entities that are Jamaican based or ran by Jamaican owners or whatever. And it allows us to connect with those folks and show how impactful our work really is. And so corporate philanthropy is sort of the big ticket item, I think, for our 2022 and beyond fundraising, in addition to grants. We have programs that are grant worthy, right? See Better, Learn Better is one of those initiatives that we can show from start to finish. A pair of glasses leads to academic excellence, self-confidence, self-efficacy, and overall better health. And so we can easily fund that program through grants. Other ones like Read Better, Learn Better, or any type of other nutrition initiative like the chicken farm and things like that, those are also grant worthy because we can show evaluation. The same thing for Cyber Safe Yourself. And so as we go with our strategic planning process and figuring out what we're going to focus our energies on, we really need to see what are our initiatives that are grant worthy or grant appropriate, which things are donor relations and donor appropriate, and then also is around revenue. And one of the things that we have learned over the last couple of months is that you can be a nonprofit and have revenue that supports your organization. And those can come from ticket sales or from hosting a fundraising event. Those are all considered revenue assets. And so one of the things that we wanted to talk about, which is on the agenda around creating opportunities for social enterprise, are what are some things that we can do or can we attach ourselves to that would benefit Cornerstone Jamaica. So what type of product could we have that would in part benefit Cornerstone Jamaica? And we've explored this a little bit with Tensing Pen at their gift shop. We are working on a Cornerstone corner in their gift shop where portions of the items sold in the gift shop will go to us, and figuring out what those items are and what will it be. But we just wanted to open this up for discussion on, does anyone have any experience with other social enterprise models? What are some things that we could get into, attach ourselves to, and what should we explore a little bit more? And that's all. So take it away.
Well, I really hope who does anyone want to raise their hand and come into the discussion? Bree is asking for ideas regarding social enterprise models that would fit and suit Cornerstone Jamaica right now.
Yeah, Crystal and Bree, listen, I think, and Gary knows this 100%. I think this is a very, very appropriate item that candidly I don't think could be covered in 6 minutes. All right, I can give some sort of tip of the iceberg kind of discussion, but this is the kind of thing I committed. Joseph and I are going to drive down and find a few hours with Gary sometime in hopefully here in South Florida, to really flush out some of this exact thing. I'll just give you my elevator pitch on it here right now. This is exactly what I spent a few years learning within my Nexus global organization about how other nonprofits, Nexus itself is a nonprofit, and how other organizations do stuff like this, right? Nonprofit organizations that find we all know, probably, I know some of us know a good friend of mine, Kirk Anthony Hamilton, right? Who is effectively doing good, bringing people to Jamaica, convening his tech beach retreats, right, etc., and getting people to pay for that. There are a lot of ways in which we could be launching projects that create jobs and create revenue back to the organization, and I have some ideas on those. There are ways we could be supporting businesses in Jamaica, connecting them with customers in the United States or otherwise, and effectively having an agreement with the business as we leverage our relationships to help them export their product, that a portion of the sales and revenue, right, go back to a nonprofit organization that we all care a lot about. And it might sound like a little thing right now, but the world that I am in, buying companies that sell products and services into Fortune 500 firms. If we could get a $2 million contract with Carnival Cruise Lines for people who can make products and services that cater to travelers that go to the beach, right? And a lot of the Caribbean destinations that Carnival visits, a 5% commission is $100,000 of annual income, right? That's coming in to the entity on an annual basis. So again, that's a teaser. It's a much longer discussion. I don't want to monopolize a little bit of time that we have, but I'd love to definitely be involved in helping to ideate and then put some action behind, right, 2 or 3 such initiatives that we could take action on, right, for 2022.
Cool. Very cool.
That is awesome. Thank you for your contribution, Richard. And thank you, Bree, for the question. What I want to do now, if there's anyone else, anyone who wants to add a couple words here, this would be the time, or drop it in the chat because we do have just a couple minutes left. What I want to do is hand things over. Before I hand them back over to you, Gary, to wrap us up, this is a great conversation for what we'll be doing on Saturday. If you're interested in this, we are going to be doing more hammering out this conversation on Saturday. I invite Richard, if you're available, anyone else on the call who's interested in helping us with this sort of developmental work and fleshing out our revenue streams. That is really, really necessary, and we're looking for that right now. Gary, I'm going to hand it over to
you.
Sorry, Richard.
Somebody want to say something?
Yeah, no, sorry, Gary. I was just saying, yeah, it's picking up on it. It's more than a revenue stream, right? It's a path and a plan to the entity itself being self-sustaining, right? So it's not on an annual basis relying on donors and connected and passionate philanthropic dollars. Those will help. Those can help us do more, right? But what is the plan that gets Cornerstone to be sustaining itself, right, in X amount of time measured in months or years, and donations and other things can help to do more programming, but the entity itself isn't living and dying on the hands of one or two, people's pockets or generous donations every year.
Beautifully.
Thank you.
said.
Yeah, thanks, Richard. I'm gonna shift gears slightly for a minute because I think it's important for especially all the partners to really meet our newest partners in Morgan and Spencer, because they're very understated type of people. They're both Stanford grads, they're engineers, and they represent to me a fresh set of eyes on everything we're doing. And by the way, they're a neighbor of David Sangster, and I hope very shortly to have a private Zoom where we can get better acquainted, because I'd love to build on this neighborhood in Palo Alto, right? But anyway, Morgan and Spencer, if you just kindly introduce yourselves and just maybe tell us a little about what you see here or what your hopes are for the future, what attracted you to Cornerstone.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much all for having us. It has been such a pleasure just to listen in and looking through the newsletter at all the work you've done. It's amazing. So I can just quickly give a little bit more of a background on myself, and we'll give it to Spencer after. But as Gary had mentioned, we got married in Jamaica exactly a month ago. My mom is from Jamaica. She lived there until she was 17. Then she came to the US, went straight to the Marine Corps, and now she's a general in the Marines. Spencer and I met out here, fast forward a bunch of years, Spencer and I met out here in college, and both work at startups, and we're looking for a deeper way to give back to Jamaica. So we're really excited to be involved. We care a lot about the island and just want to do whatever we can. So I think a lot of the initiatives, Spencer has some he's super interested in participating. For me, the vision thing is big. I have a disease called keratoconus that Gary let us know was also it was also happened frequently on the island of Jamaica as well. So excited to dig in.
Yeah, that covers it pretty well. Super excited to be here and meet everyone. Looking forward to more one-on-one conversations and building relationships over the next many years. But yeah, as Morgan mentioned, we met in college. I swam throughout college, so also have kind of an interest in athletic opportunities as is relevant to the work Cornerstone is working on. Yeah, I'm just always very passionate about the opportunities education can unlock, and public health and all of those things. So yeah, really, I won't take too much time, but we're super excited to be here.
That's awesome. What years did you graduate from Stanford?
2017.
Oh, your babies. Okay. I know a lot of people who graduated in the sort of mid 2000s.
Okay.
As from 01 to maybe 06 and 07. And some Jamaicans as well. You guys should probably connect with that, or just a couple of years ahead of you.
Amazing.
At Stanford. That's awesome. Nice to meet you guys. That's awesome.
You.
Likewise.
Yeah, that's what we do. We like to connect everybody up, right?
Awesome.
Miss Marva, how you doing, Miss Marva? Can I hear your voice for a minute before we go? Miss Marva, I'm putting you on the spot, girl. This is one of our principals. She is our guiding light in our schools, Miss Marva. Yes, you are. Can you say something?
Thank you. Well, I have been listening and I'm taking notes. I'm excited, especially where the sports is concerned. And I'm sorry that Mr. Virtue had to leave. I wanted to tell him that sports is not only in Kingston, but we have a great many sports potentiality in the West. So he is to move from Kingston. He can involve us in that football thing he's talking about. I want to say that one year at our school, we had a young lady who eventually went to practice for Jamaica as a keeper. That year we won the football nationally at Sabina Park. It was a great feeling. So I'm excited to hear what has been happening. I really am proud to be a part of this family. And from the moment I joined, I realized that Cornerstone is a force to reckon with, and I'm happy. I'm thinking while I'm listening here, Gary, that you must have a magic one to get these kind of people together to connect. I'm super, super, super excited. And what a great team you have. How do you do it?
I find people like you, Miss Marva. You're part of that magic pixie dust. Don't forget it. And by the way, I'm going to be meeting Mr. Virtue Sunday in Miami, and I will put in a very strong word for the West. And Richard, if you're not doing anything Sunday, come and join us. He's on his way to Qatar for some sports conference, and he's laying over in Miami. So just throwing it out there for you, Richard. Okay. Anyway.
I'm in Cambridge.
Oh,
at
that's right.
At Harvard this week for a leadership development course. But so I'll let you know, Gary. I'll DM you and I'll take everybody's time on my weekend schedule. And if I can swing it, I'll make it happen. But tentative right now.
Yeah, great. Anyway, anybody else have any? Thank you, by the way, Morgan and Spencer. We're thrilled to have you. Thrilled with a capital T. All right. Yeah. Anybody else? And David, I'm telling you, maybe you can make it Saturday as well for one of. And if you can't make the earlier seminar, I'm having a happy hour for everybody at 3 o'clock. So I hope you can all join us for that as well. Yeah. All right. And we're going
to be a lot of fun.
Wait, I just wanted to say something really quick. Sorry. Thanks to Yosef, we actually got to come to Disney today. So he might not be on the call, but thanks to him, we got to come to Animal Kingdom today. So thank you for that. And I just wanted to tell Morgan and Spencer that you guys remind me so much of my husband and I. We got married and we actually moved to Jamaica for a year. And so I know that I wrote it in the chat and I feel like I'm being a little stalkerish right now, but I wanted to tell you on the call as well. We really want to get to know you guys. We'd love to talk to y'all more. I'm just super excited to have you on the team. Bree and Gary have both called me to tell me about you guys. So I'm really excited to get to know y'all. And Crystal, great job in the newsletter. It looks beautiful. I'm very excited to see the finished product. So anyway, I just wanted to pop on and say hi and tell y'all, sorry I couldn't be on the full call, but thanks to Yosef, we got to come do a fundraiser for Make-A-Wish Foundation up here at Animal Kingdom today.
Very nice. I thought you were coming home today.
We are coming home today, so wish us luck.
Oh my gosh.
All right.
Thank you, Kate, for popping on. Your energy.
Oh, my hair looks
time.
so. All right. Well, I love you guys.
Good to meet you.
Sending you lots of love, Kate. We just always appreciate your energy whenever you pop on. You just brighten us all up. Thank you to every single one of you who are on this call. This is our most attended call of the year. Gary is very happy.
Well, I just want to make one comment. It wasn't only a couple, 3 days ago, we were sitting around saying, well, what are we going to do at this meeting? You know, I mean, because we were talking about reevaluating and restructuring and realigning next year. What are we going to talk about? Well, look at what happened. So that's the real magic of Cornerstone. You put the right minds together in the cloud room and great things happen. So that's really why I'm excited about next year. We have no idea. We cannot control the virus. We cannot control the government, anything else. We can't control what we can do collectively. I cannot wait to find out exactly what that is. It's going to be a great newsletter next year, Crystal. It is.
I know it. It's just going to get better and better. Me and Bree are talking. We got plans. This is just the beginning.
All right. Well, good night, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Stay safe. Happy New Year. All of that good stuff.
Good night, everyone.
Good night, everyone.
Good night. Good night, guys. Good night.
Bye, everybody.
Night.
See you all.
Haley.
Good night.
Bye, Jasmine.
Thank you, David.
Bye.
Bye, Neil. Thank you for joining us.
Good night.
Bye, guys. Good
Good night,
night.
Yvette. Thank you for joining us. We'll talk soon.
Thank you so much. Yes, thank you, Mehmet, for joining us. Thank you, Neil. Thank you so much. Bye, Ricardo.
Bye, Marva. I'll see you in a couple weeks. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, everybody.
Your Christmas gift, me coming to the grill for you.